First of all, happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
Oh my gosh, how was it? It was yesterday.
It was yesterday, and we flew in from Brazil for my birthday.
Oh.
Yeah, isn't that nice?
Yeah. Did you get a little cake on the plane or a little cupcake?
Everybody said happy birthday. Nobody sang to me on the plane. But then afterward, when we got in, Knight actually took me out with his family for dinner. My family's still in Europe, and some are coming over today. But yeah, I spent it with Knight's family. It was really sweet.
Worry. I will sing to you
Please,
at the end
let's
of
go.
this, okay?
Oh, come on.
Right now?
Yeah.
All right, well, happy birthday, Josh Hartnett.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, so when I saw the trailer to this movie, I was already like super excited. Number one, I love you as an actor.
Oh, thank you.
I knew you were going to kill the role, and you did.
Thank you.
It's not an easy one because you're in one location the whole time. Mm-hmm. So walk me through it. How did you approach this role?
Mostly it's research on sociopathy. You know, you got to know who you're playing, and so getting into the kind of darkness of serial killer's mind, there are several people that still live in asylum-type situations who will speak to reporters because they all seem to want to tell their story. Mm-hmm. And so there are plenty of books on these people that exist now and why they did what they did. And the thing that struck me kind of right off the bat is that the person who was writing each of these books, honestly, was charmed by them. Mm-hmm. That they had a nice way about them that sort of put the writer at ease and made him let his guard down. Yeah. And then he was like, every once in a while he had to catch himself. Oh yeah, these people, this person has killed multiple people. Like I have to watch out. And in this one book in particular, he was in the asylum in England with multiple different killers, and he would go from like room to room, talk to them, and they'd all be telling them like, you should look out for him.
Yeah.
The other one is the scary one, not me. That guy is the guy that you should look out for. He'll kill you. And so it's this weird sort of, basically just tons of, I had to read all the books and I had to kind of get into that mindset. But also, you know, the dad stuff is all stuff that came kind of naturally, and playing that with a little bit of an edge as someone who doesn't necessarily know how to love, but knows how to teach and knows how to protect his like legacy or whatever he thinks she is. And it's like, it was an interesting psychology to explore.
Separating the lives. I think you do a really good job of that because there were so many times in the movie I'm like, I love this relationship. Like it was such a heartwarming dad-daughter relationship.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh wait.
Yeah.
Then there's the storyline, of course. But you said you pulled from your own relationship. So tell me about that. Like how did you, because I heard you went to a Taylor Swift concert.
I did.
How was that?
Well, I mean, like, after doing this movie, it was bizarre.
Yeah?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, considering what this movie's about. But I mean, it was only a couple of weeks ago, and my girls are now, like, old enough to go to those things. They're 8 and 7. And I wanted to give them exactly what they wanted, the whole experience, and we did, and they had such a wonderful time, and the fervor that exists at those concerts, like the way that everyone is just so connected to the artist, I think Knight really captures in this movie. And because I did the movie before I went to one of those concerts, I didn't really know, and it felt to me on the day like these people have lost their absolute minds. Like all the kids were so obsessed, and they'd been given Lady Ribbon's, Salika's music beforehand, and they became genuine fans, and they were all there kind of singing along and going crazy, and like, you know, Riley, Ari's character is like crying in part of it, and it's just like, it was exactly what I experienced at the Taylor Swift concert, basically, so.
I'm glad you clarified, because I thought maybe that experience helped you then with the movie, but you're like...
Reverse. So, yeah, playing Cooper helped me with
definitely
getting through a Taylor Swift concert, yeah.
You've been in a lot of major movies, and you did the appearance on the guest appearance on The Bear. Yeah. I don't want to call it a comeback because your IMDb is full. Like, you have been working, but I guess, how do you select your roles now?
It's funny because I've been doing the same thing for my entire career. People are just more interested in Hollywood right now than they were a few years ago. But I was always looking for kind of the most unique story and the most unique character with the most interesting director that I could find. Mm-hmm. And I've got a little bit of a sort of contrary streak in me, so if somebody says, like, you have to do this thing, I usually say, no, I'm not going to do that. I just don't feel like I need to do that. I want to do this other thing. And all through my career, I've been sort of trying to focus on kind of expanding my sort of reach as an actor, being able to play different types of roles. And when I was younger, people wanted me to be one thing, and I denied them that. And it wasn't because it was you know, it wasn't anything other than just kind of my contrary nature, I think. And I wanted to try to expand, you know, and expand my own understanding of what I can do. And I continue to try and do that. That's kind of why I'm doing a role like this right now.
Yeah. So would you say that like the narrative of like you turned your back on Hollywood and now you're coming back, is that accurate then, or I guess it's not?
It's sort of accurate because I wasn't doing Hollywood films, but it wasn't like I one day, you know, like picked up my bags and in a huff turned away and walked out of LA never to return. It was more just like my interest was different from what people wanted from me within the system. And that happens sometimes, and now it seems like our interests are more aligned. Like, Knight wants me to play this role, and Chris Nolan wants me to play Ernest Lawrence, or Chris Storer wants me to come in and do that guest appearance on The Bear, and it just feels like people are allowing me to play a little bit more now.
Yeah.
They trust that I can take on these other characters, which is great, because, you know, there's something to be said for, you know, being making yourself into a Hollywood icon. Like, some actors, that's what they want, and they want to do that thing, and that's their purview. But my thing has just been entirely different. I want to play lots of varied roles, and hopefully people will come along for the ride.
Definitely, and I think you do an amazing job in this
Thank
one.
you.
Again, I say it's not easy because you're in one concert venue, and what I was surprised about is it's kind of funny.
Yeah,
you didn't think that it would be.
Of course, it has to be.
Yeah.
You have to kind of love the guy, otherwise why would you go along with the whole thing? That's the trick of the movie. And yeah, I mean, like, these circumstances are hilarious. Knight thinks it's hilarious. When you talk to him, he finds that, you know, the whole kind of original concept of Hannibal Lecter in a Taylor Swift concert is like a really funny scenario. And it lends itself to comedy in a certain sense, but you also have to play the character as like real as possible. That's the only way the comedy really works, because the nature of the situation is so absurd.
Did you get a chance to bond with Riley, or the actress that plays Riley?
Yeah, Ari's awesome. Oh. Yeah, she's so professional, she's so on it, but she's also she's a kid, you know, and she wanted to kind of, you know, she wanted to play and she wanted to do all sorts of, and she just like being there and kind of being buoyant with her, and Knight was very good with her too, and like it made the whole experience fun. It was still a ton of work for her, so, and she was always on it, but I can't imagine being an actor and then having to go to school and then like all of it. They're doing way more than I am. Like she was doing so much more. And same with Salika. Everybody worked harder than me on this one.
Oh no.
Like Knight was putting on a whole concert and was also directing a film. Salika was, you know, creating all the music and also acting, and like I just had to act. And Ari was going to school. I mean, it's crazy.
You're like, you guys are doing great.
Yeah, they were doing great. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. How's London? I guess what's the biggest difference that you've noticed living out there than here?
Well, we live in the countryside. The biggest difference is just, I mean, everything's different in a way. Even, you know, all nouns are different.
Yeah.
You know, like everything you want to say, you're like, oh, I have to adjust that. I have to translate from American English.
Do your kids have British accents then?
Yeah, 100%.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Yeah, I'm a foreigner in my own home.
Yeah. That's funny. I was wondering if they picked up your accent, but
no, they make fun of me. They make fun of my accent sometimes, but it's really sweet. My kids are very happy, and we ended up there kind of naturally because my wife's English, and we live kind of not too far from her family. And over lockdown, it was just kind of, it seemed natural. The kids loved being, you know, there and the school that they had, and so now we're there.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, it was such a pleasure. Honestly, I'm a huge fan, so it was
Thank
such
you.
a pleasure to talk to you.
Very nice to
And
meet you too.
this movie, I can't wait till everyone sees it.
Cool. Thank you very much. Yeah.